Imagine discovering that, after the age of 60, there is a single habit so simple that it could reduce the risk of the diseases that most rob lives and quality of life by up to 90%. Diseases such as memory loss, diabetes, heart attacks, strokes, and even certain types of cancer. Does it sound like an exaggeration? Science proves exactly the opposite. Today, millions of people live as if these threats were inevitable, almost a written destiny. Who has never heard someone say, "It's just age"? But what few people know is that the human body has an extraordinary ability to protect itself, regenerate, and even reverse damage. And what activates this power is not magic formulas, but something so common that you may already have at your disposal right now. Researchers around the world have discovered that this habit acts as a key that awakens the body's natural defenses, as if turning on the switch of an internal security system. The result? A more resistant organism, with less inflammation, less wear and tear, and much more energy to face the years with vitality. But here's the detail that no one mentions: most people ignore this resource. They live waiting for solutions in expensive medicines, impossible diets, or miraculous promises, without realizing that the real answer lies in something that costs nothing and that can be practiced by anyone, anywhere. You may be wondering, how can something so simple have such a big impact? That's exactly what makes this revelation so surprising. Renowned doctors and studies published by leading universities have confirmed that adopting this habit drastically reduces the chances of developing the most frightening diseases after the age of 60. And believe me, the sooner you start, the greater the cumulative benefits. It's like planting a tree. The best time was years ago, but the second best time is now. If you want to live not only longer, but better, full of energy and mental clarity, stay with me until the end. Because today you will discover how a single act, repeated every day, can completely change your future. And if this topic has already sparked hope or curiosity in you, take the opportunity to leave your like. This helps spread quality information and lets more people know about this secret to health after 60. Our bodies were not made to get sick easily. Within us there is a veritable silent army, programmed to identify dangers and neutralize them before we even notice. Scientists call this the body's natural defenses. These are systems that function like soldiers, walls, and security alarms, working day and night to protect every cell. These defenses include the ability to regenerate blood vessels, repair tissues, balance the gut microbiome, strengthen the immune system, and even eliminate cells that could turn into tumors. It's as if we had 5 front lines, always ready to act. When they are active and strong, it is difficult for a disease to take hold. Now, imagine what happens when this army weakens. Chronic inflammation begins to spread, like a slow fire that corrodes internal structures. Arteries become more vulnerable to plaque, the brain loses efficiency in its connections, joints become stiff, and damaged cells escape surveillance, paving the way for serious diseases. This is precisely where the habit we are about to reveal in detail comes in. It acts as the central command that keeps this army active. By practicing it, you send signals for your defenses to work in a coordinated manner, balancing hormones, reducing inflammation, and strengthening each of your body's natural barriers. The most fascinating thing is that this habit does not require money, does not depend on advanced technology, and is not restricted to a privileged few. It is accessible, democratic, and universal. Anyone, anywhere in the world, can practice it and reap profound benefits. And if that sounds too simple, remember, often, the most powerful solutions are precisely those that seem ordinary. The difference lies in knowing how to use them consistently. In the next few moments, you will understand how invisible everyday villains silently sabotage these defenses, and how this habit can be the perfect shield against them. Many people believe that diseases appear suddenly, as if they were an unexpected punishment. But the truth is that, in most cases, they develop silently, fueled by choices that seem harmless. The biggest health villains after age 60 are not only found in hospitals or difficult diagnoses, they hide in your plate, on your living room couch, and even in the most common habits. Ultra-processed foods, loaded with sugars, bad fats, and chemical additives, fuel chronic inflammation. This inflammation, often imperceptible, is like a constant flame that wears down tissues and sets the stage for heart disease, diabetes, memory loss, and even cancer. Lack of movement is another powerful enemy. Hours of sitting reduce circulation, weaken muscles and bones, and decrease the body's sensitivity to insulin. It's like gradually turning off the body's security alarms, leaving it vulnerable to attacks that could be avoided. And we can't forget about poorly managed stress. It triggers hormones that, in excess, erode our defenses, disrupt sleep, and even affect our mood. A body in constant alert wears out faster, like a machine running at full capacity without breaks for maintenance. The danger of these villains is that they act stealthily. We don't feel immediate pain, there are no clear signs at first. But over time, small damages accumulate until they turn into big problems. It's like silent leaks that one day bring down the roof. But here's the detail that most people overlook. The simple habit we're talking about acts precisely on these fragile points. It fights inflammation, reactivates circulation, regulates stress hormones, and restores energy to cells. In other words, it's as if you were putting your internal army back on the defensive, ready to face these invisible villains. And science has already shown something impressive. People who adopt this habit not only reduce their risk of disease, but also manage to reverse some of the damage already done. This means that it is never too late to start. Now, the question is, what habit could be so powerful as to act against such different and dangerous villains? The answer lies in how it connects directly to the deepest roots of our body. For decades, medicine has sought increasingly sophisticated treatments, with modern drugs, cutting-edge surgeries, and technologies that seem straight out of science fiction. But at the same time, countless studies have begun to point to something surprising. The most powerful solution against the advance of disease was not found in futuristic laboratories, but in a habit that anyone can practice every day. Researchers from universities such as Harvard, Stanford, and Oxford have published evidence that this simple act can prolong life by years, dramatically reduce the risk of Alzheimer's, strengthen the heart, and even prevent common types of cancer. In some cases, the results were so impressive that the scientists themselves were surprised. One study followed thousands of people for decades. Those who practiced this habit were up to 40% less likely to die prematurely compared to those who did not.
In other studies, practitioners showed a marked reduction in inflammation levels, improved insulin sensitivity, and even longer telomeres, structures directly linked to healthy aging. And here's the most fascinating part. The benefits appear not only in young people, but especially in those over 60. This means that even if you've never paid special attention to your health before, it's still possible to reap extraordinary results from now on. When repeated daily, this habit works as a kind of broad-spectrum, natural remedy. It doesn't just attack an isolated problem, but strengthens the entire system, balancing functions, recovering energy, and restoring vitality from the inside out. It's as if the body is reminded of how it should function at its best. However, the most curious thing is that, despite all the scientific evidence, few people take this habit seriously. Many consider it too simple, believe it makes no difference, or think it's too late to start. This is the biggest mistake, and the reason why so many diseases advance silently. In the next few minutes, you will discover how this habit acts on the brain, protecting memory, stimulating new connections, and shielding against cognitive loss. That's when the real magic begins to unfold. The brain is like a power plant. Every thought, every memory, and every decision depends on fast, well-maintained connections. But after age 60, many of these connections begin to wear out. Blood circulation decreases, inflammation increases, and little by little, memory begins to fail. It's the famous "I forgot where I put my keys," which can develop into something more serious, such as Alzheimer's and other forms of dementia. Now imagine if there were a simple way to keep your brain young, creating new connections and strengthening old ones. That's exactly what the habit we're talking about does. It stimulates cerebral circulation, bringing more oxygen and nutrients to each region of the brain. This extra flow is like fuel that keeps the mind alert, clear, and more capable of learning, even after the age of 60. Research shows that people who practice this habit have larger volumes in areas of the brain responsible for memory and reasoning. In other words, it's as if the habit acts as an antidote to the brain shrinkage that comes with age. More than that, it increases the production of chemicals such as BDNF, known as brain fertilizer, which stimulates the growth of new nerve cells. And it doesn't stop there. In addition to protecting against diseases such as Alzheimer's, this habit improves mental clarity on a daily basis. People who practice it report greater ease in remembering names, maintaining attention on tasks, and even making faster and more confident decisions. It is an effect that goes far beyond prevention. It is about empowering the mind at any age. Real stories reinforce this power. There are reports of elderly people who, by incorporating this habit into their routine, have not only managed to keep their memory active, but also to learn new skills, such as playing an instrument, learning another language, or even using modern technologies. Proof that the brain remains malleable when stimulated in the right way. And if protecting the mind already seems like a great benefit, wait until you understand the impact that the same habit has on the heart and circulation. Because the brain and the heart are more connected than we imagine, the heart never takes a vacation. Day and night, it pumps blood, oxygen, and nutrients to every cell in the body. But over the years, this tireless work faces obstacles. Arteries harden, fatty plaques accumulate, and blood pressure rises silently. This is how the foundations are laid for the two greatest enemies of longevity, heart attack and stroke, the dreaded CVA. What most people don't realize is that these problems don't start suddenly. They are built up over decades by bad habits, silent inflammation, and poor circulation. And here's the good news: the simple habit we're exploring acts as a real protective shield for the heart and blood vessels. Research shows that people who practice this habit regularly have significantly lower blood pressure, improved cholesterol levels, and greater flexibility in their arteries. It's as if the circulatory system is rejuvenated, regaining the elasticity lost with age. This effect alone dramatically reduces the risk of blockages and ruptures. In addition, the habit helps reduce levels of systemic inflammation, that same silent flame that damages artery walls. With less inflammation, the heart works more lightly and efficiently, prolonging its vitality. It is no wonder that cardiologists around the world recommend this simple act as an essential part of prevention. An impressive fact: in studies that followed thousands of elderly people, those who adopted this habit had up to 50% less risk of heart attack and stroke. We're not talking about an expensive pill or invasive treatment, but something that anyone can do on a daily basis. And the impact goes beyond prevention. Those who practice this habit feel more energy in their daily lives. Walking a few blocks, climbing stairs, or playing with grandchildren is no longer a painful challenge but a pleasurable activity. A stronger heart restores a sense of freedom, autonomy, and living without limitations. But the power of this habit doesn't stop at the heart. It also acts as a silent watchdog against tumor growth, activating natural mechanisms that recognize and eliminate defective cells before they become a threat. Cancer is often seen as an unpredictable enemy, but the truth is that our bodies have natural weapons to detect and fight it from the start. Every day, thousands of defective cells appear in our bodies. The difference between getting sick or not lies in the efficiency of our internal defenses in recognizing and eliminating these cells before they multiply. The simple habit we are talking about enhances this process. It improves the vigilance of the immune system and stimulates a phenomenon called healthy angiogenesis, the body's ability to regulate the formation of blood vessels. When this regulation is balanced, tumors cannot receive the blood supply they need to grow. In other words, the habit creates a hostile environment for cancer, making it more difficult to develop. Long-term studies show that people who maintain this daily habit have a significantly lower risk of developing breast, colon, and even lung cancer. In addition to prevention, the habit also improves outcomes for those already undergoing treatment, reducing inflammation, strengthening the immune response, and increasing quality of life. And most impressive of all, no extreme effort or radical changes are necessary. Small daily doses are enough to activate these powerful defenses. It is the kind of care that is not only felt in the distant future, but begins to generate benefits in the present, with more energy, greater mental clarity, and less pain. Now stop for a moment and think, what is the disease you fear most? Alzheimer's? Heart attack? Cancer? Or perhaps the simple loss of autonomy in your daily life? Sharing this reflection is essential. When we talk about our greatest fears, we raise awareness in ourselves and those around us. Write in the comments, what is your biggest concern about health after 60?
This helps not only you to reflect, but also others to identify with you and realize that they are not alone on this journey. And here comes an important revelation: if this habit is already capable of strengthening the brain, protecting the heart, and hindering the progression of cancer, what it does in relation to aging itself may be even more surprising. We all know that aging is inevitable, but how we age is far from a fixed destiny. Some reach 60 with energy, mental clarity, and physical strength, while others, at the same age, already face severe limitations. What is the difference between these two paths? In large part, it lies in how we treat our bodies over the years, and this is where the simple habit we are exploring becomes even more relevant. This daily act acts on one of the most fascinating points in the biology of aging: telomeres. These structures, located at the ends of chromosomes, act as protective caps for DNA. Over time, they shorten, signaling cellular wear and tear. But research shows that people who regularly practice this habit have longer telomeres, which is directly associated with a longer and healthier life. It's as if the biological clock is slowed down. In addition, the habit improves the health of mitochondria, the power plants of cells. When mitochondria are stronger, the body produces energy more efficiently, reducing chronic fatigue and increasing energy levels. This explains why so many older adults who incorporate this simple gesture report feeling younger than before. Another powerful effect is the reduction of oxidative stress, that silent process that damages cells and tissues. By balancing this factor, the habit acts as an internal rejuvenator, preserving organs, joints, and even the skin. This is not about superficial aesthetics, but a renewal that comes from the inside out. And the most inspiring thing is to realize that this habit does not require major lifestyle changes or investments in expensive or inaccessible treatments. It is democratic and, precisely for this reason, can transform millions of lives. You must be thinking, if it impacts the brain, protects the heart, hinders the progression of cancer, and even slows down aging, after all, what is this habit? The answer is closer than you think, and it's surprisingly simple. The time has come to reveal what science has already confirmed: the habit that can reduce the risk of the most feared diseases after the age of 60 by up to 90% is walking daily. Yes, something as simple as putting one foot in front of the other can radically transform your future. But don't be fooled by its simplicity. Walking is not just moving your legs. When done consistently 20 to 30 minutes a day, at a moderate pace, the entire body enters a state of balance. Circulation improves, the heart pumps more efficiently, the lungs expand, muscles and bones strengthen, and, most importantly, silent inflammatory processes begin to be reduced. And science leaves no room for doubt. Studies show that walking every day regulates blood pressure, decreases insulin resistance, improves intestinal flora, activates hormones that protect the brain, and even reduces markers of inflammation in the blood. It's as if each step were a dose of natural medicine, but without side effects. The most interesting thing is that the benefits appear quickly. After a few weeks of practice, you can already notice more energy in your daily life, better sleep quality, and even more mental clarity. Over time, these gains accumulate, creating solid protection against the diseases that most affect the elderly. Another important point is accessibility. Walking does not require expensive equipment, sophisticated gyms, or personal trainers. All you need is comfortable shoes and willingness. It can be in the park, on the street, indoors, or even in the backyard. The secret is not perfection, but consistency. And if you think that starting now, after 60 or even 70, makes no difference, know that research shows the opposite. Even those who start later can drastically reduce their risk of disease and gain years of quality life. It's never too early or too late. But walking doesn't just have physical benefits. The emotional and mental impact can be even more profound, and that's what we're going to explore now. When we think about health, it's common to think only about tests, blood pressure, or cholesterol levels. But there is one aspect that is equally decisive: how we feel on a daily basis. After 60, many people report a decline in energy, difficulty sleeping, discouragement, and even a loss of purpose. This is where walking proves to be even more powerful, because its effects go far beyond the physical. Each step taken stimulates the release of endorphins and dopamine, neurotransmitters linked to feelings of pleasure and well-being. It is no coincidence that, after a walk, so many people report feeling lighter, more cheerful, and even more optimistic. This natural antidepressant effect has been proven in clinical studies that show that walking can be as effective as mild medications in combating mild to moderate depression. Another direct benefit is the impact on sleep. Walking regulates melatonin cycles, promoting deep and restful sleep. Instead of restless nights and tiring awakenings, the body enters a more natural rhythm, allowing you to wake up with more energy and mental clarity. And it doesn't stop there. Regular walking strengthens self-confidence and self-esteem. Think about how many times you've heard someone say, "I can't do it anymore." With each walk completed, that thought is replaced by, "I did it." Small daily victories create a mindset of strength, showing that even after 60, it is still possible to reach new levels of vitality. There are inspiring stories of seniors who started by walking just a few minutes a day. Over time, they gained strength, lost weight, regained mobility, and even rediscovered forgotten hobbies, such as traveling, dancing, or playing with their grandchildren without limitations. Walking opened doors not only to health but to a life with more joy and meaning. And here's a fascinating detail: this simple habit also speaks to what we put on our plates. The combination of daily walking and certain foods can further multiply the benefits for the body and mind. Walking daily is, in itself, a transformative habit. But when we combine this movement with the power of the right foods, the results can be multiplied. It's like filling a well-tuned car with the best quality fuel. Performance is taken to another level. Research shows that certain foods talk directly to the body's natural defenses, reinforcing the same mechanisms activated by walking. Red fruits, such as blueberries, blackberries, and strawberries, are rich in polyphenol that reduce inflammation and protect the brain. Green leafy vegetables, such as spinach, kale, and arugula, provide natural nitrates that improve circulation and support the heart. Turmeric, with its powerful curcumin, is capable of blocking inflammatory processes and strengthening the immune system. Another ally is green tea, full of catechins that fight free radicals and promote cell longevity. And we can't forget about good fats, such as extra virgin olive oil, avocados, and nuts, which nourish the brain, protect the arteries, and provide clean energy for the body. When we walk, the body enters a state of greater receptivity. Circulation speeds up, nutrient absorption improves, and each cell becomes more responsive. That's when offering nutritious foods makes all the difference. It's as if each step prepares the ground for the right foods to become real medicine, enhancing results and accelerating gains in vitality. This combination, daily movement and smart nutrition, is not just prevention. It's transformation. People who apply these two pillars together report not only fewer illnesses, but also a better quality of life, more energy, and greater clarity of purpose. Now think, how many family members, friends, or close acquaintances could benefit from this message? Perhaps someone who is always tired, someone who has suffered from illness, or even someone who thinks that there's no point anymore. Share this video with those you love. A simple gesture can be the beginning of a life change. And get ready, because now we're going to bring together everything we've seen so far in a conclusion that will show why this very common habit can actually be the greatest gift you can give yourself after 60. If you've made it this far, you've already realized that living healthfully and vitally after 60 is not a matter of luck or perfect genetics. It's a matter of choices. And few choices have as much impact as adopting the habit of walking every day. Such a simple gesture, but one that can strengthen the brain, protect the heart, hinder tumor growth, slow down aging, and restore energy and mental clarity. We are not talking about a vague promise, but something proven by decades of scientific studies and, above all, by real stories of people who have transformed their lives through seemingly small steps. Daily walking shows that we don't have to wait for miracles or rely solely on medication. We have within us a set of natural defenses ready to be activated. And each step is like a silent command, reminding the body that it was born to live in motion, to protect itself, and to flourish even in maturity. At 60, 70, or even 80, it's not time to give up, it's time to be reborn. It's an opportunity to take control of your health, to plant energy for the years to come, and to prove that age is not a limit, but an invitation to make wiser and more conscious choices. And the beauty of this path is that it is not a lonely one. Imagine how many people could change the course of their lives just by understanding the power of this habit. Each walk can be taken hand in hand with those you love, can be transformed into moments of connection, laughter, and even new memories that will last forever. So, if this video has brought you clarity and hope, don't keep it to yourself. Click to subscribe to the channel right now and continue receiving content that shows you, in a practical and inspiring way, how to live longer, with more energy and quality. Because your journey to active longevity is just beginning. And remember, health is not something distant or unattainable. It is in the small steps you take today, which will translate into years of life with more freedom, more vitality, and more joy. The best gift you can give yourself is to start now.